Hello everyone, and welcome to this tutorial for setting up a NukkitX Minecraft Bedrock Edition server. So this is going to assume a couple of things. One, that you already have Java installed on your server. So whether you're running Ubuntu or Windows or Mac or whatever, the server runs on Java, so you need to have Java installed. The easiest way to check if you have Java installed is go to a command prompt and just type Java ---- version. So you'll see I have Java 13 installed. I think the minimum required is Java 8 or Java 11, but I just got the most latest, which is Java 13 at this time. Alright, so then the next thing we need to do is actually download NukkitX. You can either clone it and compile it yourself from GitHub, but I'll go into that in a different video. Instead, if you go to the website, NukkitX.com, you can come here to the download link, and you'll see 2.0 alpha is out, and it's awesome. So I've been working with that a little bit, but it's not very stable right now. So we'll go and download just the NukkitX one. It brings you to the Jenkins system, and it defaults to branch master. And this is where you're going to see the latest successful artifacts is the jar right here. You can download it. There's a permalink down here to the latest build. So you can use this if you want to just bookmark this to be able to come and build them, get the most latest build all the time. If you want to use a different branch, and you can see all the different branches. So 2.0 is its own branch right now if you wanted to download and play with the 2.0 alpha, which has the new level DB support to support the newer blocks. Or maybe you wanted to get the redstone branch to be able to have some of the redstone things be enabled. The new RackNet also has better networking. I would recommend either just going with the master if you're just trying to get a Bedrock Edition up and running, or the 2.0 if you want to kind of play with the new features. So we're going to set up the master for this branch. So you click on the branch that you want, and then it'll be the latest successful artifact. So I'm going to click on here to download the jar file. And Smart Screen is saying jar files can be dangerous, so I'm just going to click OK and say that's OK. One thing I do want to point out is that if you do this Java command and it says unrecognized Java, but you did install Java, you may want to check your environment variables by going to the system control panel and open up advanced system properties and go to environment variables. You'll see installing Java made this Java home variable, but it did not add it to my path. So what I did is I came in here and I added this Java home /bin to my path, and that allows you to be able to run Java from anywhere. And you may have to restart your command prompt if you do that. Alright, so I'm going to go here, I'm going to have my downloads folder, and what I'm going to do is make a new, I'm going to say, cut, and we'll just make a new folder in our base and call it NukkitX. And put it there. Now to run this, you could just double click it, but it's going to get an error on the first time because if you just double click a jar, it'll run in Java, but it'll run in the background and you won't see any interaction or console at all. So the smart thing to do is create a startup script, or you can just always just launch it from a command prompt yourself and have that be your console. But we'll make a quick startup script here. So I'm going to say new, just text document, but we're going to rename the .txt part. And we're just going to call this server.bat. So on Windows, it's .bat files. On Ubuntu or Linux, or probably even Mac OS, you're going to do .sh for a shell script, and it'll run a little differently. You can look online on how to create those scripts for Ubuntu or Mac. I'm on Windows right now, so that's what we're going to use. I do have a Linux server, but we're going to be using this. Oh, apparently this is going to open in TextPad. That's cool. It may open in whatever text editor you have, so it's fine. So on Windows, the first thing we want to do here is do @echo off, and then we're going to run our command is Java. And then you can add any extra switches here that you want to have the virtual machine start up with. And we're going to say NukkitX-1.0-snap shot.jar, because that's what it's called. And then, I like having the -v debug option to show debug logs. You can also put the -xmx4g if you want 4 gigabytes of RAM by default. All sorts of options that you can do for that. And then we're going to say pause so that if it crashes or exits, the window will stay open before, and let us press a key before it just disappears. So we'll save that script, close that, and we'll just go ahead and run it. So when we open up the script, the first thing it's going to ask is the language that you want to use. And this is why it crashes on the first time if you just double click it, because it'll try and do this and there'll be no input console. And so it'll just crash saying no input. And you'll see here it created a bunch of files here. And as soon as you enter a language, it's going to create some configuration files in that language, so that you can get instructions in those languages. So I'm going to do English. I'm getting asked if Java can have access through my firewall, so I'm going to allow that. And then you'll see some warnings in here, illegal things. That's okay to ignore those ones. Sometimes you'll get some netty errors saying that it couldn't access a library. It's fine. It's basically going through a list of possible libraries until it finds one. So you don't have to worry about that. And like we have a warning here, level world not found. So it created it for us. And so there's a bunch of different settings that you can do after it's been launched. So if we stop the server with the command stop, you'll see this is the pause part. And then you'll see a bunch of other files were created. The NukkitYAML and the server.properties are where you can configure your server. So we're gonna open this. You'll see I have IntelliJ. We're just gonna open it with Notepad, which defaults to TextPad on my computer. This gets automatically generated and will get updated with the date and time every time it loads. So there's some things that you can change in here. Server IP 0.0.0.0 means to just bind to all available network adapters on your computer. If you're putting this on a host, you're going to want to put your actual external IP there. Otherwise, it won't be able to bind and launch. So if you're getting an error about binding when you try and start, that's probably the first place to look, and the port. Because you'll be assigned a port by your host if you're not hosting this yourself. So make sure that the port is correct. And then if you're running multiple servers, you can change the port and have multiple servers running on different ports, but you can only have one running on any particular port. And then there's some settings in here that you can adjust as you feel needed. Here you'll see the level name. This is changing in the 2.0 build, but right now this is where you define your default level. And so it's just called world. It's got its own just randomly generated seed, and then it has the default world generator. You can put flat here if you want it to be like a creative style flat world, and then you can put your own seed here if you know one that you like, and you can slap it in there. These are changing with new generator settings and things in 2.0. And then down here, Xbox on or off. This is Xbox Live authentication, so only allow people who are logged into Microsoft accounts to connect to your server. If you turn this off, it'll allow anybody with any Minecraft client to connect. Alright, so that's just the basic things, and then the NukkitYAML file has some more advanced things. So this is where your default language was created. You can change it here. You can change some settings of what it says when it shuts down, that kind of network stuff. Here, if you set the debug level to 3, you'll get a lot of information about incoming, outgoing packets and things like that. If you set it to 2, you get better debug messages. I will set it to 2 in mine here. Timings are off by default. This is to track things of how long things take on the server, so whether or not you're going to use it or not. Most of this can all be just left alone, but you can see that there's a lot of different options. There's spawn limits in here, but currently mob spawning is not supported, so these aren't actually going to do anything. There's some plugins to turn them on, mob spawning, but as of right now, this won't really do much. And then aliases, I like having this, so you can make one called shutdown that does save all and stop, even though right now stop automatically saves everything. But command aliases is helpful. And this is where you can also define additional worlds. And this is in 2.0, where all the worlds will be defined with their generator settings and things like that. The generator settings are also changing. So those are your configuration files. And let's go ahead and launch the server again. And then we will connect. Now, this might fail. And if you're on Windows 10, if you're running the server on the same machine, there's one extra step that you have to do. Any other operating system, this doesn't apply. It has to do with using the loopback interface for networking. So then you'll come over here and you'll come here and add a server. You just call this my server. Now here, if you're not using the new RACnet branch, you're going to want to make sure that you use not localhost. This is going to default to IPv6, which is not supported by the base Nukkit. If you use the new RACnet branch or 2.0, it'll work fine. But if you do 127.0.0.1, which is the same thing as saying localhost or the current computer, it'll default to IPv4 and work. So then we come in here. It says it's offline, so let's see if it actually is or not. That's a bug on the client. Sometimes they show us offline, but it's not connecting, so I think maybe we have to do the loopback exception. So let's go find what that is. I'm going to pause the recording and go and find it for you guys. This is posted in their Discord as well. If you visit the NukkitX Discord and sign on there, it's pinned in a message there. Basically, you need to run this command in a PowerShell window. I don't think we need the very beginning parts because that's the quotes that we want. And you want to make sure to run it as administrator. So I have PowerShell somewhere, maybe not. So we're just going to type PowerShell, run as administrator. So it's going to pop up the thing, say yes, and then paste the command, and it should come back saying OK. So that means it properly went through. If you get anything besides saying OK, either say nothing or some sort of error, something went wrong, and you're going to have to try again. So this is adding the Minecraft Windows 10 app into your loopback exempt ones. You might have to restart Minecraft for it to work. So let's restart Minecraft now that the loopback's been added. There we go. It said locating server, which means it got through. And here, you'll see that in here is joining. And spawned us underwater, which is a pretty common thing in 1.0 NukkitX. So we're going to quickly come over here to land so we don't drown. But as you can see, the NukkitX world is working. And then you'll also note it because like when you start a world on your just computer, you're automatically an op. And if I come in here, you'll see I'm not an operator. So what you need to do is come over to your console and actually do op and your username. And then you'll have the op commands and you can do whatever you need to do. Go into creative mode and all that. And then you can extend NukkitX quite a bit by using plugins. You'll see that I've got 0 plugins loaded right now, but if you go to the website, There's a bunch of different plugins that you can download to do different things, like the mob spawning, there's stores, there's faction plugins, there's all sorts of different plugins. And that's essentially how you get customized servers for things that you want to do. If you have any issues with getting Nukkit up and running, hop onto the Discord. There's a lot of help there that can happen. Otherwise, have fun with your new server, and see you later.